in a very limited time, I was also informed about this seminar. So my presentation may not satisfy everyone also. So I, regret from the very beginning. Okay, the paper name is Information Technology and Good Governance. My paper is basically a theoretical aspect on not much on the case study as such. My paper is more on the theoretical on how good governance and information technology are going together when it comes to public service delivery in public administration. So first I look, my paper has been divided into different aspects. The first aspect I try to cover is about the governance debate. The governance debate, starting from how the traditional institution, traditional state, the traditional conceptualization of the welfare state, how it fell, and then how the emergence of new governance debate came into the picture, and the concept of governance without government, started in the 1970s in the European, and how it got spread to different countries. Where governance without government, stressing on the importance of network, partnership, market was emphasized. So here, the governance is more about steering and coordinating in a collective action. Means here the different stakeholders will be involved in the governance process. So in this background, around the same time when the governance debate was coming up, the debate of new public management was also coming in. So the new public management, the governance got a push from the new public management debate itself. And the new public management debate was demanding for new instrument of control, was demanding for a downplay of the public-private dichotomy, emphasizing on competition, and a new instrument and technique of steering. So in this debate, emerged the first documentation on what good governance is all about by the World Bank in a study report in 1992. There, they emphasize on the different aspects of the pillar of good governance itself. Like the same good governance concept has a theoretical background from new public management philosophy again. So in these again, good governance aspect from the World Bank, they emphasize on transparency, accountability, rule of law, and participation. So these governance can be seen both as an end as well as a means. Governance discourse can be seen both as a means as an end. So regarding the means, we now took over the IT. We now come across the IT as a new instrument to bring as a means to bring the good governance aspect of transparency, accountability, and more about competition and the issues which are covered under good governance. So the advances in IT was potentially beneficial in promoting good governance as such. So now, good governance, I'll skip these because I have no time. Now, this e-governance was increasing the rationality of decision making through formalization of rules and procedure, reducing bounded rationality, and modernizing public administration through informatization. Okay, so e-governance shifts the process of accountability towards accountability in terms of result. Accountability in e-governance now also entitled a partnership approach where people are now going to be involved through e-citizen. Okay, e-citizen, e-society, different aspects are going to come when we use IT information. IT technology. Now, keeping this background, I now come to the e-governance in India. Now, e-governance in India, we started way back from the 1970s, but I now go to the 1990s onward, where state government and the national government, enthusiastically, they put a pressure on adopting ICTs, particularly web-based technology through the internet. Then later on came the Information Technology Act 2000 to digitally accept signature and all. Then comes the Right to Information Act 2005, then National Information Plan 2006, and the last Digital India Program 2015. So these are the programs again, with the same background of the philosophy of new public management to push for a e-governance in India. That means to digitalize India. So with this push, there have been a successful e-governance initiative. Now we have the Aadhaar program, which we have. Now we have the National Optical Fiber Network connecting 250,000 villages. That is Gram Panchayat. We also have from the NGO sectors initiative like anti-corruption initiative with this thing called IIPA-MRB. So their website is there where we can write about our, experience or the things regarding the corruption. Now, besides this, with the use of the mobile technology, there have been a case study stories about fishermen in Kerala using mobile technology to know about the fish price in market, which has been documented properly. Now, the latest regarding the e-governance index is given by the United Nations, where India has been placed at 96th position, which has been a massive leap again from 2007. From 107 in 2006. So these are again the success story where e-governance initiative has taken place in India. Okay, so now, but still then there has been a challenges to e-governance, because if e-governance has been taken place with the background of new public management, there has some theoretical, aspects to be seen also. Like the new public management takes the citizen as a consumer, which has a choice and an exit policy. But in India, there are many, where the citizens cannot be assumed as a consumer itself, and different debate about the, e-governance can be considered like the gender issues, then the illiteracy, then the lack of infrastructure, because the e-governance aspect has taken place only in one phase, that is the information through the website which is given to the citizen, but the two-way process of the citizen coming to the government on the exchange of the information for the policy transformation is yet to be taken place, and many other infrastructural aspects need to be again seen. So e-governance, IT revolution has a good aspect, but more challenges to face for its implementation. Thank you.
Though according to normal practice, the one who chairs the technical session is to pass at least brief comments, but in this case, I'm not going to pass any comments on any presentation, okay? Because time is money. All the paper presenters are requested to highlight only the main points and concrete sessions. I want to reiterate what I've said. Now, I'll call upon Roman Goro, problem and challenges of use of digital technology in disaster.
Hello, good afternoon everyone. My name is Roman and I'm at MPhil Scholar first year. Thank you sir for the opportunity. So my theme of presentation is about the problem and challenges of digital technology in disaster management, in disaster response. So before I move into the presentation, I would like to make a clear division among what is a disaster, what is a risk, and what is a vulnerability. So everyone knows, in fact, do everyone knows what is a disaster? What is it? I won't take time. I guess everyone knows. So let's give an example, like disaster can be, I'll try to be a bit, how can I say, love can be a disaster, and crossing a road can be a risk, and sitting here can be a vulnerability to different natural hazards. So moving beyond that, I will speak about the problem and challenges of digital technology in disaster response. So natural hazards are becoming more and more prominent in the coming years, and we have been seeing that recently the cyclone which has been approaching Orissa, and apart from that we had the earthquake of Nepal in 2015, So where the digital technology has been used widely, used very widely, like the use of drones to map the geospatial maps and to send response and relief to the people who are in dire need. So apart from that, sending the excessive use of digital technology, there are a few problems and challenges how we could tackle it. So I'll just read out the few points and the problem and challenges of digital technology and during disaster response. And I would like to give an example of Mizoram as well as the rest of the India and globally as well. So as I have earlier mentioned that digital technology plays an important role during responding to disaster, such as by providing interactive maps, telehealth, and drone services which can in fact help people who are in life-threatening situations. So apart from that, although the digital technology has been growing rapidly, so there are a few problems which are such as the rural and urban divide and disparities between sub-regions and areas, such as if Mizoram, in Aizawl, everyone has a telecommunication connected here, but if someone who is living in Saihar, Champai, along the line, he might not have the same connection what you are having here now. So responding to a person and sending an early warning signal that, okay, there is going to be a landslide there or a flood there, he might not receive the information correctly at the time. So there is a disparity and there is a divide among the digital technologies used in Aizawl and the person who is using in rural areas. So the second problem is the terrestrial wireless services. The terrestrials means like which is above the ground, such as the communication network which is on top of a building or somewhere on the top of a hill. So these are the communication systems which connect one person to another. So if during disaster those telecommunication systems got interrupted or damaged, so you might not be able to exchange information within the people to respond swiftly. So these are the 2 points which I would like to highlight. And apart from that, there are a few challenges as well in digital technologies in responding to disaster. So the second challenge is the lack of interoperability of information. Because during disasters, you get a lot of information. A lot of people will be sharing. If there is a landslide happening in Aizawl or in Lunglai, the people will be sharing in WhatsApp. 3 people died, they are injured. So there is a lot of information which will be coming to one set of database. So it would be all so it needs to be disseminated and it needs to be filtered out which are the real needs. Because people will empathize with the people who are being affected by disasters. So you need to, out of all the informations, you need to create informations and share with the people who could respond effectively and to the organizations. And second challenge is about there are a few issues such as the government defense policy. So there are a few defense government policies that disallow the organizations to use few parameters and frequencies which can be utilized during disasters. It hampers the effectiveness and the ability to access people and to reach out at the last mile. So I mean the last mile is more often reaching to the person who is the last village and in the last community and in the last place. And so I would like to sum up, I won't take your time, so I think I have 1 minute left. So I guess I'll just sum up my paper with the very simple thing is that to ensure that the digital technology to be effective and to be efficient, there are a few areas that can be utilized and that can be highlighted is that we need more reliable digital technologies which can be utilized in the rural areas apart from extra terrestrial communication systems. And the second is that we need to collaborate and we need to cooperate and we need to coordinate more in sharing information which would be helpful in people who are in dire need. Thank you.
Thank you, the timekeeper. Professor Lakshmi. Can you give the time? Okay. 5 minutes.
Very good afternoon to Mr. Chairman, professors, and my dear colleagues. So I'll be presenting a paper on good governance, meaning and dimensions. First of all, when we speak about good governance, it simply refers to the activities or the administration of the government. And speaking of good governance, the concept of good governance, it emerged mainly because of practices of bad governance. So, good governance was initially expressed in 1989 World Bank publication. In 1992, the World Bank published a report entitled Governance and Development, which explored the concept further and its application. In 1997, the World Bank redefined the concept of good governance as a necessary precondition for development. So, moving on, we'll mainly speak about the dimensions of good governance. So, under the dimensions of good governance, we have 9 points, which are participation. When we are speaking about participation, it simply refers to the participation of the citizens, which is in lieu with the government employees. In order to attain this good governance, there has to be participation from both ends, citizens and the government employees. And with this participation, we will be able to have this proper decision making, and our choices, our opinions will be informed duly, which will help us to make proper decisions in the government working or in the adoption of the government policies. Next point is rule of law. When we are speaking about rule of law, it simply is involved with a legal framework that has to be followed. And with this legal framework, it is in tune with the human rights as well. When we are exercising the human rights, each and every individual, we are able to know our rights and know our responsibilities in the society, and moreover in the government functioning, and how we are supposed to, or how we will be able to take actions with regards to the functionings of the government and its policies as well. And next point is transparency. I think we are all familiar with this transparency. When there is transparency, we are able to have this, we are able to inhibit corruption, which simply means that we are able to avoid corruption, and moreover, we will be able to be free from corruption, because when there is transparency, the people will know what the government is dealing with and what the government is doing, and with that, the people will also be responsible in asking questions and contributing their ideas and contributing certain things to the government as well, and with that, transparency will be able to have this good governance. And next is responsiveness. Institutions and processes should try to solve all stakeholders within a reasonable time frame. Next, consensus orientation. Different interests and viewpoints need to be mediated to reach a broad consensus on what is the best interest of the whole community or the society. And next, equity and inclusiveness. People should not feel excluded in any society or in any community. The people who are the citizens, men and women, they have to have this sense of belongingness in the society, and that through this sense of belongingness, they will be able to have contributions in the government as well, and they will be able to work and cooperate with the government, with the different government bodies in the society or in the state. And next, accountability. Public officials must be answerable for government behavior and be responsive. This simply means that the government workers who are working under the government, they have to be cooperative with the citizens, with the common masses, with the people. And with that, the dimensions, there are 9 dimensions of good governance. I will just summarize it again with the main points: participation, rule of law,
transparency, responsiveness, consensus orientation, equity and inclusiveness, effectiveness and efficiency, and last but not the least, accountability. And with my conclusion, when we evaluate the growth and development of the self-governing local bodies, we understand our position in good governance. With that, I conclude. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we are called upon either Henry, Lofangmoy, or great presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, professors, and my teachers, and my friends today. I think it is very relevant topic for Mizoram that we need to know what projects have been taken in Mizoram. So I will highlight some of the projects. Usually these projects had taken during 12 5-year plan, that is 2012 to 2017 in Mizoram, and also it is going on some of the projects. So the term e-governance, I want to define this term first. Like E means electronic or digital, and governance means it is the process or it is the structure for to ensure accountability, transparency, responsiveness. So the e-governance may simply means the use of electronics or information and communication technology in transforming the workings of government. So I will highlight the major projects here. Point number 1, state data center. We have, I don't know, some of us may don't know we have state data center in Mizoram, but we have state data center in the Secretariat building, New Capital Complex, in the annex 1, second floor. We have there, and that center is being set up to provide efficient electronic delivery to the citizens. It will store all kinds of information relating to government of Mizoram and the citizens itself. And the government is undertaking capacity building project. Under this project, training had held with National Institute for State Government, Indian Institute of Public Administration, and Administrating Institute Mizoram for political leaders and government employees. Number 3, in district, under the guidance of government of Mizoram, Mizoram State E-Governance Service has implemented this project for the efficient electronic workflow system in the district administration, infuse transparency and accountability in operations, and reduce workload of departmental personnel. And state with area network. This network is made and it will be interconnect all the district and block subdivision and state capital also. And this project is implemented in the PPP mode, public-private partnership, with state government and Zoram Electronics Development Corporation Limited, Zenix. And Common Service Center, we have heard this Common Service Center for many times. We can avail this service also in our locality, our village. In this Common Service Center is around 130, more than 130 service center made in Mizoram. Through this Common Service Center, we can get our tribal certificate, residential certificate, and other certificate as well, and land resource information system. land resource information system. This project is implemented as a pilot project in Serchi district, and it, like they said, it is very effective, and it is implemented very good in the Serchi district. Maybe I hope it will be implemented in all over Mizoram. And state service delivery gateway and state portal. This state service delivery gateway and state portal, through this portal we can get and we can enter into all the departments' websites in Mizoram, and also if you browse like local administration department, you will enter into that department website, that is the portal. And empowerment of women and rural youth. This project aims to enable women and rural youth. More than 1,000 rural youths have been educated in electronic literacy. So it is, I think it is one of the effective and one of the important project in Mizoram. Yes. In the concluding part, recently government of Mizoram has made computer skills mandatory for entry into government service. This is new in recent years. So, and also I would like to say UDMPA department has been the first department to use e-office in Mizoram, and municipal has also started implementing e-service in the state.
Please record it and after the okay now. May Mohammed Nama or Nisala will present the paper and if anywhere I
would like to shortly point it out the major issues or challenges in e-governance in Mizoram. And point number one, poverty. The report of Below Poverty Line Basement Survey 2016 shows that there are 288,191 families in Mizoram, and out of that 90.63%, that is 56,584 families, were under the category of BPL. Thus, accessing internet is too expensive for those poor people who struggle very hard for their livelihood. And next is technical literacy. Lack of technical literacy is another issue in Mizoram. As per 2000 census, the literacy rate in Mizoram is 91.33, and the rest 8.63% are illiterate and dependent on farming, labor work, and can even read or write, and hence the online activities are not applicable to illiterate people. Next, language dominance. The dominance of English on the internet constrains the access of non-English-speaking population. In the case of Mizoram, the majority of the people in Mizoram speak the local language, that is Mizoram, and doesn't speak in English. Due to such dominance of English over these communication channels, computers and the internet are quite useless in Mizoram villages. And the next is lack of awareness. And one of the major blockages of the successful implementation of e-governance in Mizoram is lack of awareness regarding the benefits of e-governance. Number of people in the state has not been aware of it. And next is inequality. There is a huge gap regarding accessibility of services between various sections of citizens, particularly between urban and rural areas, between the literate and between the rich and the poor. Next, shortage of infrastructure. In some places, the availability of essential infrastructure like electricity, internet technology, and ways of communication is very poor, which in turn led delay in the progress of implementation of e-governance. Next, privacy and security. There is still doubt to the citizens regarding the privacy and security of electronics and transactions. For example, securities of online transactions like insurance, banking, utility bill payments, and all these activities done by the e-governance. Suggestions. Any information provided by the citizens should be ensured by the government. Otherwise, any person or institution may misuse the available information. And it also observed that for large e-governance programs, proper infrastructure is essential. And computer systems were not replaced or even upgraded, so such kind of implementation could be needed at the moment. Thank you.
Now, Dr. I will learn what gimmick. Then, Dr. T. Sudasivam, and afterwards, it is
First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for giving me the opportunity to put my view here. I think there are 5 minutes, which there is a time period I have to follow that. So I thought I will discuss many things, but I have to concise within those 5 minutes. So as all of you know that the topic of today's discussion is basically on digital technology, how it is basically on governance. Digital India, all of you know, it's all theoretical part. Already many speakers spoke about that. And but if you see, as you know, when you're talking about ICT is basically influencing every aspect of individual life. Even if you want or even if you don't want, it is a fact. Okay, so ICT is influencing every individual aspect as such. So earlier we used to talk about what smart governance in public administration, especially we talk about smart governance as such. And then comes e-governance, how to achieve smart governance. E-governance is a 1-2. Now what we are talking about, now we are forget about smart governance and e-governance, we are talking about more about a digital governance. So how to achieve digital governance in a digital society. So that is a big challenge, right? So in that context, if you see, before that I will just give you a positive picture, after that I will come to the negative picture and then conclusion. Positive picture, if you see India, if you talk about India, the mobile connection in India is more than 1.2 billion. If you talk about Aadhaar, more than 1 billion. If you talk about Facebook, India is the largest market. If you talk about WhatsApp, also more than 200 million. And anything you talk about, the largest shipment of smartphones in India, everything. And if you talk about anything, if you talk about all, India is on the front, right? So it's you can say it's a very positive thing as such we have. And if you talk about, if you remember, our Prime Minister Modi also talks about 3D, right? What are those 3D we have in the 21st century? One is democracy, then we have demand, and one is demography. But I added one more thing. According to me, we have to add one more thing, that is data. So democracy, demographic, demand, and data. So India, if you see India, when we are talking about digital governance, data becomes a new commodity like oil used to be there in the 21st century, in the 20th century. So these all are positive aspects. So when we come to the negative aspect of digital governance as such, here there are only 2 issues which I want to take it up. One is the cyber crime, which we forward every time. And when we talk about cyber crime, please remember, what is the literacy rate in India? According to 2011 census, the literacy rate in India is 74%, right? But that does not mean that those 74% people who are literate in India, that does not mean that they are digitally literate. It does not mean. So there is a difference between a literate person and a digital literate person. So we have to keep in mind that thing always, right? And of course, if you're talking about digital, when I talk about digital literacy, and especially if you talk about rural India, because we have to be concerned about the rural India, because more than 60% of our population are living in rural areas, right? And if you see the data, because as I said, now we are living in the age of post-truth. I don't know, many of your students, you may not know post-truth. post-truth is basically talking about what anybody comes in a platform and they speak about, give the fake facts, right? But here I'm here to give you the facts which is correct from the government side. So what government is giving. So if you see that, what is the the overall in rural areas, what is the situation? According to Socio-Economic Caste Census 2011, I hope all of you should read that. If you see, more than 50% of our rural households, either they are illiterate or semi-literate. So when we are talking about digital governance, how come you can expect a rural person in India, when more than 60% of Indian population living in rural areas, how come you can expect them to be a digital literate? It's a very big challenge, please remember. And in cybercrime, if you remember, at international level, national level, every day we are coming about a cybercrime. And if you're going according to the National Crime Records Bureau, what National Crime Records Bureau says, in 2014, we have 9,000 cybercrimes have been reported. In 2015, it was near about what you call 12,000. In 2016, the latest available data, it talks about 12,500. But this is just on paper. Let me tell you very clearly, there is a computer emergency response team in India, which is basically the coordination committee for all cybercrimes in India. If you see their report, it is the opposite. So what Crime Records Bureau of India and the Ministry of Home Affairs is talking about data, that data is different from what Center CERT is talking about. So in India, basically, if you talk about cybercrime is a very big challenge, please remember. And there are many examples of that, but I don't want to, because of lack of time, I cannot specify on that. The second challenge is the digital divide. That also we always forget about. So when you talk about digital divide, please remember there are three important things. Difference between the rural and urban areas, between male and female also, and regarding the infrastructure. Like I come from Delhi, so I know, all of you know that in Delhi, we had this authentication Aadhaar PDS system. And Delhi being the capital city, you don't believe me, you all expect that in Delhi mobile connection everything will be good. But in Delhi itself, the system is failure because of the lack of technology we have. So digital divide and the cyber challenge is a big problem. At the end and the conclusion, I would like to tell you is that whenever we talk about digital governance, please remember, technology is that, it's very good, but people is also important. So for me, people is more important than technology. So technology exists for the people. So we should remember that also. Thank you so much for giving me a time.
Mr. Chairperson, my topic is role of ICT in achieving good governance. Now, what is ICT used for? ICT is used to make public administration more effective and efficient. How? It cuts red tape. At the same time, ICT is being seen by many government and activists and civil society as a whole as an important tool to promote transparency and accountability. Therefore, ICT, what it does is, it removes unnecessary human involvement during public service delivery process from the government. Now here I have pointed out 4 main points regarding the benefits of ICT in good governance. The first one is e-administration. How does e-administration help? The first thing is it cuts costs. It helps in cutting costs, that is both financially as well as time. And then the second point is that it manages process of performance. That is, it helps in planning, monitoring and controlling the performances of the human, financial and other resources. And the third point is, it makes strategic connection in government. And the fourth point is, it creates empowerment. What it does is, it transfers powers and authorities as well as resources from one location to different new locations. The second point which I have mentioned is e-citizens and e-services. E-citizens and e-services is the relation between government and citizens, which in turn helps in providing citizens with details of public sector activities, again, which at the same time, it increases the output of citizens into public sector decisions and actions. This again leads to improving public services. That is, services are delivered to the members of the public with more focus on quality, convenience and cost of services. The next point is e-society. E-society is building an external interaction between the society and this initiative, which in turn help in the better working with business, that is interaction between the government and business, And again, this helps in building partnership. That is creating organizational grouping to achieve economic and social objectives. And the last one is e-governance and e-government. Now, e-government simply means the use of technologies to facilitate the operation of government and disbursement of governmental information and service. It may also mean the use of information and communication technology to access to and delivery of government services for the benefit of all. This helps in strengthening the government's drive towards effective governance and increased transparency for better management of resources for growth and development. So in conclusion, if you see, the use of ICT, it not only boosts efficiency, it provides an overview and enables better decision in governance. It also creates fresh opportunities for citizens' participation in the government process. It also provides existing opportunities for political participation, but also opens up new possibilities by establishing bi-directional communication channel. That is, government to people, people to government. And it also helps to shape relations and interactions between government, civil society, and private sector. So if we can say that ICT is the need of the hour in any society, which cannot be ignored by the government. Thank you.
This is an indeterminate term. Indeterminate means not exactly known or universally accepted definition. Term used in the international development literature to describe how public institutions conduct public affairs and manage public resources. Governance is the process of decision making and the process by which decisions are implemented or not implemented. The term governance can apply to corporate, international, national, local governance, or to the interaction between other sectors of the society, including civil society. The concept of good governance often emerges as a model to compare ineffective economies or political bodies like third world countries, including India. The concept centers on the responsibility of governments and governing bodies to meet the needs of the masses as opposed to select groups in society, a few selected groups. Because countries often described as most successful are Western liberal democratic states concentrated in Western Europe and Americas, that is USA. Good governance standards often measure other state institutions against these states. Aid organizations and the authorities of developed countries often will focus the meaning of good governance to a set of requirements that conform to the organization's agenda, making good governance imply many different things in many different contexts. Dimension of good governance. The essential nature of good governance is the structure of institutions and societal norms by which authority exercises for everyone's benefit at all levels, from local to global. Good governance in general has, among others, three dimensions. That is, political dimension, processes by which those in authority are selected and elected, monitored and replaced. And the second is the economic dimension, process by which public resources are effectively managed and sound policies implemented. And the third one is the institutional dimension, process by which citizens and the state itself respect the society's public institution. My finding and recommendation and suggestion can be concluded like that. Our present Prime Minister, Modi, who has tried to champion digital India, has said that the priority of my government is less government, more governance. My suggestion and my finding is, in order to achieve this, what Modi ji has said, in order to achieve less government and more governance, and in order to achieve digital India, it is first need to go through a proper and meaningful agrarian society. Next, the industrial society. And last one, digital India, is applicable only just like the Western liberal countries like Western Europe and USA. It is need to go through in the same manner. First, proper and meaningful agrarian society, and next, industrial society, and the last one, digital society. There can be no skip. Without doing this, there can never ever be the real digital India. Thank you.
Then next, maybe three and other ones.
Good afternoon, everyone. The theme of my paper is Policies and Programs of the Government under Digital India. Digital India was launched by Modi on 1st July 2015 with an objective of transforming the country into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy by leveraging IT as a growth engine of New India. Its main aim is to ensure the government's services are made available to citizens electronically by improved online infrastructure. There are many policies and programs under the Digital India. Some of the programs I will talk briefly. BharatNet, which is laying down of optical fiber cable connecting Gram Panchayat. BSNL Next Generation Network. This upgrade telephone landline. Through this, now we can send voice message, data, and also multimedia. Digital locker. It is simply uploading and keeping certificates online. Through digital locker, we can access our documents anywhere, anytime. National scholarship portals. I think we are all familiar with this. Everything is now done online. We don't have to go to the office and buy the application form. Now we can do it simply at home through our phones or computers. E-hospitals, helping patients through video conferencing, etc. E-sign is virtual signature. Digitize India platform. This is government agencies to transform themselves with digital enterprise. My government mobile app. Through this, the citizens can perform in the governance. Swachh Bharat Mission app. It is a mass movement for cleanliness. Through this app, if anyone sees a garbage lying down in the city or the roads, we can take out this app and take a picture and post it on this app. There are 9 pillars of Digital India. I will highlight only the subheading. Broadband highways, universal access to mobile connectivity, public internet access program, e-governance reforming, e-Kranti, electronic delivery of services, information for all, electronics manufacturing, IT for jobs, and early harvest programs. Though there are many policies and programs made under Digital India, I think that some of the programs may not be effective in some areas, especially like the rural areas. But these programs have helped India catch up with the rest of the world in terms of digitization. These programs have helped in the contribution of good governance. People are now more aware of the governance, and they're working and help governance become more transparent and accountable. Thank you.
Respected professors and dear friends, a very good afternoon to you all. I will be giving a very short presentation on good governance and ICT. Good governance is the term used to describe the public institutions, the way they conduct public affairs, and how they manage the public resources. The concept emerges as a model to compare ineffective economies and governing the bodies to meet the needs of the masses. Some of its vital characteristics are rule of law, responsiveness, consensus-oriented, equity, and so on.
ICT, the so-called information and communication technology, has been used by academic researchers since the 1980s. And the Parliament of India has passed the IT Act in 2000. And its role in governance is very wide, and let's highlight some of them. It helps in delivering government services, exchange of information, the various standalone systems like the government to citizen (G2C), government to business (G2B), government to government. Also, if we take into account transparency, responsiveness, effectiveness of the government, we can now say that even RTI also we can get through online. There will be a quick response and feedback to the respective department, and e-challan, e-payments, online application of jobs, online scrutiny and monitoring, e-way bill, etc. All these are now available through the application of ICT in governance. In a nutshell, it has enhanced the growth and progress of governance. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to Professor Tuang and Professor Zoe, dear teachers and my fellow friends and my dear friends. Today my topic is on the growth of e-governance in India. Now we have talked about good governance and I will talk about how e-governance is set up to bring more transparent, accountable and reliable governance. So first of all, e-governance has come into being as the application of information technology to the process of government functioning through the smart governance. When we say smart governance, it simply means simple, moral, accountable, responsive and transparent government. Now, smart governance or e-governance is a tool to bring more proactive and responsive government or administration to the needs of its citizens. Now, e-governance is used as an enabling technology to achieve broader goals of good governance. The Government of India established the Department of Electronics in 1970, which is the basic start or the foundational movement, or like the start of how the government take initiative to bring more about electronic governance. Now, the growing importance of electronics came up after this, and later on, 7 years later, in 1977, the National Informatics Center (NIC) came into an establishment which is about information and communication in its focus. Now, the main thrust of e-governance was provided by launching the NIC.
Assistant Professor of Science, Digital Technology and Governance. Thank you.
Sorry, I came very late because of many kind of academic work and responsibilities last 2 days. So many areas, topics related to my theme already have been discussed. So I am just taking as the practical aspect of this Digital India program. And interesting that if we see that this Digital India program is a colorful image. Like on paper, if you open the website also, you will find very colorful. But in reality, it is only a kind of black and white image. That we see the practical things. So, what is the problem? If you see the black and white image of the Digital India, if you see the My Government app or the corner, you will find that every corner, creativity corner or creative corner, you will find a Prime Minister photo and a slogan and nothing if you open that as like a viewers or or comments, then you will find only positive comments. No approval of the negative comment. If 1000 comment, then only one like approval as a negative, only one. And that is negative means only last you will find. Only one word is negative, then okay. All are positive comments you will find. So where is fair? Digital India. Another, if you see any other corner, updation is very poor. Many apps say corners are updated in March month. No updation. Many corners and creativity corners update in June month. Last 3 months no updation, 4 months no update. If you see kind of a talks and interaction, digital talks like talking, audio, video, there is no comment and only one-way kind of talk. You will find only one way. No listeners, viewers, their comment is not available in talking like a Google Plus or Hangout. It was last time used by PMO office 2015. After this, no use of a Google Hangout, or only one time the Prime Minister PMO office use it. After no. So what is the meaning of having this kind of as a part of in digital India? Another is, you see, opinion poll survey. There is a activity kind of a blog or corner. Opinion only yes. You will not find no. No, there is huge margin of yes and no votes. Huge margin. Like 90% yes, 10% no. It is possible in this digital India and really people are getting this. Another thing that is, as participate and sharing only in Mann Ki Baat program. You will not find any sharing, any kind of participation in other corners, only Mann Ki Baat. That is updated also. Last Mann Ki Baat updated on 20th September, then in this month you see. But no sharing, no any kind of participation of the people or listener or viewers. And if activity only, links only PMO. No other ministry link you will not find on Digital India program. You open, no any ministry link, only PMO. And if you open PMO, only Prime Minister office and Prime Minister Modi's image. And his good Hindi slogan terms used. Like Suraj. We can't understand Suraj, what is good governance. But no in English, only Suraj. Another thing, very important part of this Digital India program is Prime Minister Gramin Digital Shiksha. And this is a very poor program. The target was set by end of this year and did not achieve. Only 30%. Target of adding is how many? 1,50,000 panchayats, gram panchayats by end of the 2018. And till now only 30% achieved. So very slow progress of Digital India program, especially this rural area connectivity. Another thing, BHIM, only one option is given. Public sector, government app only, transaction like money transaction or banking, only one app, BHIM. BSNL also providing, post office also providing, but not, you will not find that. You will open only website of a post office, then you can find. Otherwise in this Digital India only female. Yes sir, yes sir. And now is just, yeah, these are black and white images. And now interesting as recent development. Recent development is from the last night, midnight. What is the initiative of Election Commission in 3 poll-bound states? That in night during 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. you cannot send WhatsApp message. So till the election counting concluded. So this is kind of Digital India, and only exception given to the ministry, government employee, and only through the government to government group, WhatsApp group, not private. So yesterday I tried to send a WhatsApp message after hearing this news then my message could not deliver. So that is kind of digital India. This is a kind of attack on the digital freedom on the people. Really, this is attack. Last as very difficult on the Aadhaar making Aadhaar card for them disabled person. We are not like serious about the disabled person. For them very difficult to make Aadhaar card. And 90% disabled people are not able to make Aadhaar card. That is the reality of digital India. Another and last point only. If your any digital app or any digital instrument or machine stop to work or not verify, not identify or not matching biodata like Aadhaar card, then supply service facility stop. This should not be happen. Any country you visit where is a digital like program, this is not thing that you stop service immediately if not matching, not verifying your data. So this kind of black and white image of the digital India. Thank you giving me and time and accepting my points in the last moment.
I thought I would speak last moment. I decided because I think the topic, the sector that is very close to my heart, agriculture sector, has been left aside in all the papers. So that was the reason. So, respected chairman, professors, and dear friends, well, the topic that I'm going to present is digital technology in agriculture. As I've said, since I didn't prepare for it from the beginning, I'm a little, it may not be very well placed. But anyway, I would like to talk on that. So when applied to the agriculture sector, e-governance refers to the use of ICT for delivering the services, the products, which are of use to the agricultural community. And agricultural community, as we all know in India, comprises of the majority of the people in the population. So this is a very important sector that I feel, cannot leave out. Here it can be used for it can include the farmers as well as the livestock breeders, the herders, the dairy workers, the agriculture extension officers, and those NGOs also who are related to agriculture. So there are a range of interventions that can be useful to the agriculture sector, such as information about the weather, the latest seed development and technologies that are used in the seed, information about the rainfall, and other schemes that are provided by the government, and also even the availability of the local level governmental offices and the services that they can provide so that these can be availed by the farmers. Now, here we find that there are a number of governance products and services which are specific, as we have said, to the agricultural community and which needs to be made available to them. Okay, this, if made available to them, can bring about household food security as well as provide livelihoods to the people in the agricultural sector. And for that, we need timely and efficient management of the entire system. There are already a number of projects which are funded by the national government as well as other donor agencies, the private sector people, and all these are all very important. But in spite of that, what we find is there has to be various sectors where we need to bring about changes, like improving the quality and standards of the existing agriculture-related governance products and services, which are already being provided. Here, we can bring in things like extension services, because especially if we see the scenario in Mizoram, we find that extension services is lacking greatly. And many of the farmers are not aware of the kind of things that they require, the kind of implements that they require, how much fertilizers that they require, what type of fertilizers they require. So all these awareness has to be given and can be given through the digital technology. And also another factor that we can bring in here is the market prices. When the farmers are not aware of the market prices, they do not know which are the lucrative crops that they can produce. So all these awareness would greatly help the farmers in providing services to the people as well as in sustaining themselves. Then another would be in providing agriculture governance services and products to the citizens which are required by them, but which till date have not been provided, such as access to easy modification of their land records, providing credit cards to the farmers, and for use of purchasing the seeds and fertilizers and other farm equipments. And also, as we have already mentioned, rainfall predictions and all those would really help, including the prevalent crop diseases in those areas, and in states like Mizoram for the wild animals which are found in that areas also. So all these factors would greatly help them in providing better services. Then to enhance the participation of the agrarian community, their capacity can be increased by more funds, by being aware of the funds that the government has to spend in their particular area, and they also should be given the opportunity to influence the government programs and projects so that their needs would be met and the government projects would become successful. Then other areas which are where we find is that we need to bring in new sections of the agrarian community under the governance spur, because we find that those people who are already well versed are coming under it, but we need to include those people who are likely to remain excluded, such as the landless farmers, the migrant laborers, and the women farmers. So maybe I'll just highlight the programs. Digital India project, which many have mentioned, has also got an agriculture aspect to it, and this project will benefit the farmers because it seeks to transform rural India into a digitally empowered knowledge economy, provide universal phone connectivity, extend timely services to farmers, and also enhance efficiency in agricultural governance. And maybe I should just end it. So what we find is that the role of electronic governance in agriculture sector goes beyond giving just the important applications as we know now. Okay, it should instead try to provide tools for to the agricultural sector related to governance, products, and services more effectively and uniformly to the entire agrarian community. Thank you.
I express my sincere thanks to all the paper presenters, and now all the participants have presented their papers. Do we have any query or supplementation or additional different themes presented by the different presenters? Yes or no? Different? No. Okay, I'll take my time, okay? I'll speak only 2-3 lines. Only. Now we are in the 4th generation of the development of these technological developments, where we find the great contributions being made by robots, and I hope they will make more contributions. We have seen with our own eyes the photograph of a beautiful robot lady who is having artificial intelligence. And this robot lady having artificial intelligence was met with even by our Indian students attending International Science Congress. Now our world has changed. Let me tell you, when internet was introduced and that was taken as the first stage, we thought it as a great achievement. And from there we have moved forward, and after passing through Internet of Things, and now we are in the other stage of this robot age and artificial intelligence. That's what should be our future. You and I have to seriously think about this. Take, for example, even not only among engineers or medical doctors, even among academicians, there has already been wide information divide. or technical device. Take, for example, if I do not know how to handle or how to operate these modern instruments like technologies, even if I have rich knowledge here, I'll be classed as outdated teachers. That's why we need to enrich our knowledge, and that has to be supported by our knowledge of these digital technologies. Otherwise, the development in us would be lopsided. Then, of course, I have so many things to share, but it's not time. Now time is running out, and may I request my esteemed colleagues, Professor Lerna Izami, who is responsible to propose a lot of things today. I'll request her to propose a vote of thanks again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I also have got a point to present, but since the time constraint, I may not do it. Like, Dr. Chan Pui, Dr. Jang Wu, then Professor Laprin Tuara. So if I speak, and then I will take more time. So one very important aspect is missing. That very aspect, just let me read it out. My abstract of paper. Role of e-governance in women empowerment. Issues and challenges. This portion is actually left out. So without half of the population in India inclusion, how can we really bring that this kind of policy is effective and bringing kind of positive changes and development. So in order to promote good governance in India, the first and foremost task is promotion of inclusive governance, which cannot be overemphasized. But most of the policies which have been implemented to bring up social and economic development are not inclusive, especially for about 50% of the Indian women. Moreover, illiteracy, cultural, reproductive, and productive role, lack of financial independence, and deeply rooted cultural and religious taboos among women are the major barriers to e-governance in India. So it has been said that India is moving towards achieving e-governance, but leaving alone the flattering terms and utopian dreams about the scheme. Has this policy been actually inclusive? How women being able to derive equal benefit from the government schemes as their male counterparts? Are women, especially for rural women in India, really aware of all these e-governance initiatives? So this paper is an attempt to examine the issues and challenges of e-governance in promoting women's empowerment. So this is my point. So anyway, I shouldn't give any comment, and then I always take the turn so that the women's issue is also taken into consideration in this kind of academic gathering. That's why I have just included in this. So I just prepared it yesterday, then brought it out this morning on you. So anyway, the last part is that I say thank you to each and every one of you. So in a very short notice, the head of department, public administration, the chairman, Professor Lerna Izami, this IIPA Mizoram Regional Branch, and Director of Women's Studies Center, along with other members of the IIPA, we could have a brief meeting. Then in that very meeting, we could actually chalk out this kind of program. Then it becomes very fruitful because of all the presentation, wonderful presentation, and due to the kind, attention and presentation of our students. So I say thank you to each and every one of you, and I say thank you to the organizer also. Then I say thank you to Dr. Lerna Pui for arranging all these things. Then Dr. Irina for taking care of the Khana Pina and all. Then I also say thank you to Professor Muthu Lakshmi for taking care of the registration. Altogether we are about, from morning, more than 70 are participating in this, till the end. I'm so grateful to Head of Department for allowing the student of public administration to participate in this gathering. So I should also request, I don't know whether it's the right time or not, those who are remaining till the end, we should also add in their internal marks at least 0.5 something. So that is my request. So with these few words, I say thank you to each and every one of you. The most important thing, that's where I have to propose a vote of thanks or include in my vote of thanks is that the media from Mizoram University, he has been here from the beginning till the end. So I hope it would be in the university Facebook page, and then other important functions that has been included. So today's program should also be included. Then if the media can also give out to the government of Mizoram, then it will be too good. Then we will be very grateful to you also. With this, I say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you once again.